Hi, everybody. Let's see if everything is working. Okay. Looks like it. Looks like it. Okay. So, still tweaking things when we have time. So it is late again. We are really burning the midnight oil every night because so much is happening, and we're covering so many fronts in this battle for accountability. Fight for justice, for what is right. And we're doing it legally. We're doing it through the system that is compromised and corrupt. And, um, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, can we deduct theft of services from our taxes? I'm just saying, just putting it out there, because I think we have absolutely been robbed of our services, um, that taxpayer money spends on this. And we were asked to do the investigation into our son. Our son is Richard Halliday, and this is 1,711 days since, we've been fighting very hard to get answers, and we did. 4 days after President Trump uh, was inaugurated, we received a letter that Richard was found in the line of duty at the time of death on Fort Bliss. So what that means is that he was murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty, confronting the cartel tide, criminal trafficking, corruption, and compromised military. The security is compromised on Fort Bliss. If he's murdered on Fort Bliss by cartel tied individuals engaging in criminal trafficking, then the security on Fort Bliss has been compromised, right? Absolutely. So, we are, addressing the Patrick Crucius case, and, reviewing all of the new um, information coming out by Joe Spencer. And he absolutely knows that we have audio of him, audio recordings of him, and we've been releasing the transcripts, not just to the public, but we have been filing those as complaints to the agencies that need to take action in this corruption. And he's so bold, after the open checkbook and absolutely the open theft, the totally open theft and weaponization and abuse of the criminal judicial system in this country, that, as a lawyer, he's entrusted to honor and respect, so that we can have accountability. And he absolutely abused and violated his duties as a lawyer, as an attorney. And, lives get hurt because of it. Absolutely, lives get hurt, and it cannot be tolerated. And he's so bold to say, you know, um, because the corruption and the compromised individuals go deep into our system, he just feels confident that he can go on public record saying that he is going to write a book about all of this, right? And he's going to write it like he's some whatever, like he didn't do anything wrong, and he's so criminal. And so our response, talking about it was, his book should be called, um, How to Lose Your Law License for Dummies. How to Lose Your Law License for Dummies. And so we put that together, that meme, and I hope that you share it because it is the attorneys that engage in this kind of activity, and there's a lot of them that really hurt us because not only are they um, engaged in weaponizing their authority or their know-how of the law um, to get the open checkbook. I mean, look at what they did with the application for appointed counsel for Pat C, right? For Patsy, for Pat Crucius, for Patrick Crucius, which has cost the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. And when you look at his family, um, and for his lifestyle, he absolutely didn't have zero 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 income and zero 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 expenditures, right? So, my goodness, he's said to have bought this weapon, right? And this ammunition and all of that. And he's said to have written this manifesto that is, an apt person and a deep thinker. And yet, Joe Spencer calls Patrick Crucius a broken brain because he does have severe autism, severe mental health conditions on top of that. And has a long record of all of that, and his family has mitigating evidence. His neighbors have mitigating evidence, and Loretta Lynn Hewitt, the prosecutor, that left um, in protest. Right, she left in protest. Her notebooks were taken away. Her notebooks of her interviews and everything. So she resigned in protest, and but she testified in a hearing to what she could remember that was in her notebooks. And she pointed out that her notebooks had been taken away, that her personal notebooks on the case, which is, uh, it's so bad. And it tells you about the tampering in the case and the tampering with witnesses, the tampering, because that's what that is. If you have witness accounts and you're not, um, moving forward on them. So tampering with witnesses and tampering with evidence and not revealing mitigating circumstances and conflicts of interest and everything else that they violated, right? They have violated. So, I don't feel sorry one bit for Patrick Crucius because there's so many victims in this. There's so many victims. He needs to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And in Richard's case, it's the same way. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Justice for Richard Halliday. Thank you so much. And, and the Patrick Crucius case, the Walmart mass shooting case, is very important to solving Richard's case because, Richard's case came first in the Walmart mass shooting case that clearly, red flags everywhere. And absolutely, it was used to attack President Trump. And you don't even have to like President Trump. The facts are there that this was used to attack President Trump and to affect the election in favor of Beto O'Rourke. And Beto O'Rourke seems to be very involved in the Walmart mass shooting case fraud, okay, in the fraud of it. And maybe worse, and maybe worse. And the same thing with Veronica Escobar. And so all of this hands off thing that you saw today, um, the yeah, their hands are off of justice, right? They are up to no good, and They are bullies. And I think that message is really an intimidation message. It's kind of like what Richard got, you better not hold us accountable. You better not look underneath the rock. You better not look into our bank accounts. You better not turn off our theft spigot, our what do you call it? The illegal, it's an illegal gravy train spigot. And that's this hands off thing. This is what it is. You better not want to deport me if I'm here illegally. You better not want to put any kind of moral boundaries upon me. I should be able to do whatever I want. That's the language of a demon. That's a language of a demon, a very selfish demon that doesn't consider the community, doesn't consider the family, doesn't consider the future at all, because that kind of talk is a bell, a death knell, right? You call it a death knell, a bell that says, this is the end of the country when you have no laws, no moral laws, no justice system, no boundaries, no borders, no family, no, um, it's just so bad. And then victims upon victims. And so I count what I heard today as just a bunch of demons gnashing their teeth and very selfishly, like, I'm proud of breaking the law, I'm proud to have no morals. And it's just really, it was just astonishing to see how selfish they were. And it's really indicative of just demons gnashing their teeth. Really, that's how I saw it. And when you suffer through um, uh, what they've done to our military and how many casualties are unnecessary that have died on our bases just because of this kind of selfish um, you know thought or culture that's being promoted, that you should be able to do whatever you want. And it got me thinking about Richard's um, a video that he made publicly, a video, and said, I rather burn my money than spend it on whores and blow, challenging Fort Bliss because of their um, um, sex cult activities and drugs and criminal trafficking, the weapons trafficking and everything, the child exploitation. Hundreds of thousands of children now, trafficked on Fort Bliss and are now presumed to be dead. Um, this is where it wound up, all this selfish kind of thinking, um, and how many families are destroyed because of what they've done, because these children, these hundreds of thousands of children, and it's being reported that it's almost at a million children. These were taken children, taken from their families, and trafficked up through hell, up through hell, across the border into a death camp on Fort Bliss. That's what they're calling it. That's not my words. That is what they're calling it. And so, it's closed down now, thank God. And um, but who knows what's going on, right? Who knows what's going on? And if you know, please let me know. But this selfish thinking, this self-serving thinking is what caused this, right? That you could just do this kind of criminal activity, put us in debt with all of this weapons trafficking and equipment trafficking. And I mean, I've even heard of Humvees being stolen and all of this. So this is really, really big money. And this is the biggest fraud, waste, and abuse you can imagine. And now it's coming out that the VA is absolutely getting caught with their, it seems to be money laundering millions and millions of dollars going through the VA. And we know that the VA has been totally abusive and also participating in this sex cult activity. So you got it on Fort Bliss, you got it in the VA, and we want to see Doge. We want to see Mr. Musk go over to the Pentagon and with his Doge team. Because, I think they're going to find a nickel there or a dime that wasn't stolen, right? Or was stolen, right? Um, so no, I think they're going to find some fraud over there, don't you think? They're going to find some fraud over there at the Pentagon. I think so. I think so. And I think they have to be very careful because it is our military. And with the relations across the waters, but it has to be cleaned out. And so, and we're just impatient. We're just impatient because we've been going through this for over 4 years, and we want to see, um, Bernabe get absolutely taken out of that uniform and out of those stars. Same thing with Donna Martin and many others and many others. So the timeline is is very is very interesting because Richard was giving a message to everybody, and I've been saying that a long time because that video was made known to me by Belen Rocha, thinking that it would offend me. And I was like, no, wow, Richard's a hero. Richard's an absolute hero. That drove them crazy. Well, what is he saying? He's saying he rather burn his money than spend it on whores and blow. Any mother would be proud to hear that from their child, right? He's not saying, oh, yeah, this is how I spend my money. He's saying he rather burn his money. It is so disgusting to him, the whores and blow. So that made me really happy. Then, of course, the audio of him telling Belen Rocha that she should not engage in the sex cult world, the sex cult business world, that she shouldn't engage in it. And the girls, the females that are telling her to do it and saying that they support her and respect her they don't really respect her. They really think bad about her, bad about her. And the guys are just horny. They just want to see her naked. So this is what Richard was doing. He was whistleblowing. He was warning, and the IG were all over the barracks because of him. And it was audits were happening, investigations were happening. And so Donna Martin, CID, the provost marshal, absolutely knew what was going on. She knew what was going on when it came to Richard's case. And um, so that makes her crimes, her violations, her derelictions, even far worse, because it absolutely is such a cover up. And we have the receipts to all of this. I'm not just saying this. I've been on here day in and day out. I have, now they want to delete the videos, so please save my videos if you can, if you want to have that record. But we have, multiple um, platforms that we're on, and um, you know, we've been on day in and day out, and it's been absolutely documented, everything. And then, of course, our receipts are just piling up higher and higher and higher. It's a mountain. It's a robust amount of evidence, a mountain of it. And so, these receipts are there, and they've been tampering and they've been trying to cover up, but they can't tamper with Richard's letter to his grandparents. They can't tamper with that he's a whistleblower. They can't tamper with his character, that he always maintained his character throughout this whole thing, even when he was being framed and retaliated against and everything. He maintained his character, his good character, and so he's done something really, really remarkable. Um, he's a whistleblower that they couldn't discredit. He's a whistleblower that they couldn't discredit. And that is something really, really remarkable, because the pressure and the vile and vulgar messages, the framing, the setups, the retaliation, the weaponization of the UCMJ, of their power to ruin a soldier that's a whistleblower. And they couldn't do it to Richard. He's a whistleblower they couldn't discredit. His character surpassed, transcended all of their attempts, and very expensive. It took a lot of money to retaliate against him. Costs the taxpayers a lot of money to weaponize the system against Richard, because of all the tampering. And, remember, they superimposed Dallas Hart's face on top of Richard's face, to create a photograph to give to Interpol. This is an international crime, what they did. This is an international crime. So not only did they commit crimes against Mexico, they committed crimes against the whole international world by messing with Interpol. And of course, they committed the egregious crimes with us and with our key whistleblower witness, Judge Roger Rodriguez, who filed multiple because in the conversation that I had with him on the phone, where he was notifying me that he was the whistleblower witness, he told me that he knew that this was really big, and that the CID could not be trusted, because of course he pointed out that it was a CID agent that was a prime suspect in Richard's case, and up to no good. And so, because of that, because of him identifying the prime suspects in the case, and one being a CID agent, he absolutely sent and filed his whistleblower complaint with many agencies and institutions, and of course with Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, who was the Fort Bliss commander at the time. And they absolutely did everything they could to whitewash it. And they then commenced in a smear campaign and a retaliation against the judge. And that's what you read. Some of the things are that it's just false stories. It's false stories, and they use Richard's platoon leader's mother, a convicted criminal, as an unreliable source, along with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, which both of them are up to no good and cartel tied. So, it all is coming out, and we just have to hold on, and keep working hard, and fighting, I should say, filing all of the complaints, because they need the complaints in order to get to action. And so please file complaints, because absolutely all taxpayers have been violated in this, with this cover up and schemes and everything like that. So be kind to all. I know your mama heart is hurting. Oh, absolutely. I cannot tell you the hell that we've been through. It is just so egregious. But at the same time, we want to be an example to other families, to stick together, to, not get too emotional because they depend on that. They depend on you getting emotional and not thinking clearly and maybe retaliating against them with any kind of words or whatever that they can use against you. And so we have kept, trying to keep very calm in all of this so that they can't target us, even though they've targeted us, um, but that is used against them now in our timeline and in our paperwork and everything that's used against them. But even with that, we cannot, you know, um, really let out our emotions yet. We can't. We have to keep that in check. There are rules, right? There are rules that we have to follow, that self discipline. And this is one of the reasons why, when you get into a situation like this, you have to exercise that self discipline. You can't always do what you want, right? You have to use the law. And then when you see the law being weaponized, and you see corrupt individuals not doing what they're paid to do, it gets a little frustrating. But God is in control, um, and what did we get? We got the declaration, right? We got the declaration of in the line of duty. And we're going to get more. We're going to get more. And we did it without hurting anybody, right? Um, uh, I don't think we've hurt anybody unless they're part of the cartel cabal or part of the compromised narco politicians or compromised chain of command. Um, we've been trying to be very, very patient so that those that really hurt Richard are the ones that are being held accountable. So, yeah, and I think that's absolutely, would go quicker and it would be more helpful if if Donna Martin, the provost marshal, would do her job. But she's implicated in this in a very, very serious way. And we'll be revealing that too shortly. So we just want to thank everyone for sticking with us because this is for our military, this is for our country, this is for the El Paso community, right? I mean, El Paso is just under total assault. Their judicial system, their criminal justice system, their their courts, which all of that is included, are under assault, and and it really hurts a lot of people because of the contracts, because of the other corruption that it allows. They take over the courts and they take over these positions because they want to cover for other criminal activity that hurts the community and the families and the children and everybody. And so there's a lot of crime being covered up right now. And so that means that we have to be vigilant, we have to speak out, and we have to protect our country, protect our Constitution, because the Constitution are our rights. We don't want Big Daddy telling us everything to do. We want our Bill of Rights. And so there's a lot at stake right now, and I think it's going really well. The other thing that I did want to mention were these gold cards. And so I'll put out an explanation about those gold cards. I think it's a very brilliant, brilliant idea. The full ramifications. I'm sure they have ran algorithms on their plan to have this gold card, this $5 million gold card. It's like a green card um, uh, uh, if you know about the green card, then you absolutely understand the gold card better. Our son-in-law had to get a green card. He's not an American citizen. He had to get a green card to come over here and work. It took a long time. It took money, right? But he did it legally. And, it would be really, really nice to get permanent residence with a gold card, but it costs $5 million. And why is President Trump doing that? Because he's bringing in investors. If you have the money to spend on a gold card for $5 million, right? That means when you come into this country and you're paying $5 million for your family, right? Then you have also money to invest in this country. And when you live in this country, you want good roads and you want nice um, neighborhoods and you want nice cities and you want nice resources and you want nice entertainment and all of this stuff. Can some of these people be up to no good? Yeah, but we need to have a stable law enforcement system, right? That's what we need. And that's why this is so important. But we also need investors because we're going broke, $37 trillion in debt. They stole so much from us. And so to get, I've always said that debt makes you a mean person. So if you bring in people that are not in debt, that have a lot of money, that can invest in parks and all kinds of ideas and businesses and everything, then you're going to have a much happier community, right? If you get out of debt, you're going to be happy and you're going to make your community happy because you'll just be a lot more, uh, talkative and um, yeah, you won't have as many worries. And so you'll be jolly, right? You'll be jolly. And this is why you want to bring people that are not in debt, that do not have the tendency to get into debt, that do not have, that can't be extorted into debt, like a lot of these very poor migrants were getting, and having to work in slave labor and everything like that. And slave labor can't afford investing in the community and in parks and in the arts and in all kinds of infrastructure, right? Um, so bringing in very wealthy people, um, I think it's a pretty brilliant idea in an attempt to save our country because, it's just, on a very, very bad path. It's been on a bad path for a long time. And debt is just a ruination of every family, country, individual. And so, and we have a lot of it. We have a lot of it, and we need to get it under control. And so, if you have lots of $5 million gold tickets, and that's going off to paying, and we'll see if they do it, right? We'll see if they do it. The deficit, then we're going to be it will be the golden age. If we can get rid of our debt, it will be a golden age and it will help all Americans that live here. So, and having that better mood, and I've said this from the very beginning, having a better mood, and having, um, it makes you do your job better. And it also will lessen the temptation for all the corruption and to be compromised. And it will also empower courage for people to speak up. And so that will absolutely help Richard's case too. So that's our opinion. And, I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. We're still in Lent, but it's coming. Easter's coming, and I hope everyone will enjoy their day tomorrow. And we just want to say that we love you, and we're very, very grateful that you have stuck with us for so long. And please share all of the content. That is what makes us drive them to do what's right. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back